Hey guys, Freddy here. Welcome back to another House Rules video. Now it's been a while since I did my last one, because I was kind of hung as to where I was going to go next. Because, as I said at the end of that video, where we went over the generic dice rules systems that we were choosing for this game I'm developing along with yous, I'd said the next step we needed to choose a setting, because things like attributes and skills and various other stuff is very much based upon what setting we've got. You know, whether people can use guns, you're not going to have that in a standard fantasy game. Whether people are more technically based is going to be very much based on whether it's science fiction or a fantasy setting. So what this video is I'm going to present to you 5 ideas. Put my hand on camera, 5 ideas. A couple of these are fantasy. A couple of these are kind of science fiction, post-Holocaust-y type thing, and one of them's pure science fiction. So I'll present these ideas, and depending on what comments are made, I've already got my idea of which one I kind of want to go with. So if there's not a clear decision in the comments below as to which setting you want to see, which I should go for, I'm going to choose the one I want to go with. But if there's overwhelming decision, I'm going to go with that. So let's have a look at these different settings. They've just been bubbling around in my head, some of them for years, some of them just in the last couple of months, and we shall see where we go. So first up, we've got the Flat Earth, or the Young Earth. I think I might be choosing this mainly to annoy people, because I kind of like winding people up a bit. It's just in my nature. But anyway, the idea of this is a young fantasy world. So basically the world has only been created by about 100 years. And it's going by the standard beliefs of the Flat Earthers and the Young Age creationists. That the world has been created for the races on it. There will be standard fantasy races, so your humans, your elves, your dwarves, your halflings. But most of these people will either remember the gods creating them, or will know that their parents were created directly by the gods. The world is that young. Everybody has been created with a role, and the adventurers themselves will be people who are breaking out of that role. So, although they know the gods exist, they're not sure whether the gods have the best chosen for them, or is going adventuring what the gods have chosen for them, if they want to play that part. The idea would be that everything has been placed there, and divine magic is very much part of the world. So everybody uses divine magic. There's not just clerics, but fighters will weave magic into the way they fight. Thieves will weave magic into the way they steal things. A potter will weave magic into making pots. It's just part of it. You put blessings, you put divine magic into everything you do. My second idea is to take a fantasy world and put it towards the other end, while keeping it fantasy. So not taking it like Shadowrun or Warhammer has done into cyberpunk or science fiction settings, but making the world very, very old. Now, in most fantasy settings, the humans are the youngest race, and they are going to dominate. We live shorter, we breed more, so we are dominating the world over the other fantasy races. Yet, in every other fantasy world, there are other types of the other races. So, in your standard Forgotten Realms, you've got High Elves, you've got Silver Elves, you've got Wood Elves, you've got Dark Elves, you've got Grey Dwarves, you've got Gold Dwarves, just all these subspecies of races which are supposedly much more stagnant and unchanging. Whereas, basically, there are just humans. So the idea by this would be that there are fantasy races, but they are dying out. And they are stuck in their ways. They are stagnant. Whereas humans are the ones. So you will get evil humans. Ones which follow evil gods, have built that kind of society. And they will be slightly different to other humans. So there'll be the other fantasy races, and then there will be a bunch of different human races. And the idea that humans are also starting to introduce technology, so humans will have muskets and flintlock pistols, and magic will be somewhat old and fading. Now, this isn't a totally unheard of idea, it's just something which passes my fancy. My next idea is a post-apocalyptic setting, but not a nuclear apocalypse setting. So instead of the fast apocalypses of things like Twilight 2000 and various other games where there's been a nuclear war, and the world is devastated and survivors after that, this will be a slow apocalypse, kind of based on the environmental things that we're going through now. The world has dried out, arable land has died, the sea levels are rising and have wrecked the coastal cities. So lots of people have died out. 100 years after this apocalypse, it's very hard to live. The lands are mainly deserts, but the coastlines are submerged cities. There's lots of pollution, the world is wrecked. So it's an apocalypse. However, the rich found their way out of this. And there are large settlements of rich people, whether it's estates for people or whether it's massive manufacturing plants where the rich people get their stuff from. There'll be farm factories around those where they get all their food and supplies. But basically, it's Amazon has built cities to survive out the apocalypse. Jeff Bezos will have survived, while everybody else is scrabbling around in the post-apocalyptic wasteland, getting ammunition, fighting in battle cars, that kind of thing. This would also be taking technology slightly forward for most post-apocalyptic settings, because you do have the large Amazon factories churning out high tech. So people can get advanced computer systems. There may be lasers and definitely guided weapons. You're not just fighting it out with grungy little assault rifles, although those are the things which can be manufactured in the wasteland. This is the setting I would most likely go with myself, as I do prefer post-apocalyptic settings. But I don't know whether this one's a bit too weird. Perhaps a bit too dark in the fact that we do seem to be marching into this. Next one's perhaps a bit manga. It's definitely an idea I had when I was watching a lot of manga back in the 90s. The idea is that Earth has been dragged down into hell. All the good people got removed, they got carried off to heaven, but the rest of Earth got dragged to hell. However, hell's a bit different. There are the big demons going around smashing things and wanting to hurt people, but there are lesser demons as well, who know they're at the bottom of the pile. So they team up with humans and they start building techno-magical defenses. So there are cities protected by force fields, magical force fields, to stop the big demons getting into them. And in these cities live ordinary humans with advancing technology, a sort of cyberpunk setting, but alongside demons. They can be horned, red-skinned, your standard classical humanoid demons. But these are lesser ones. So they will work along with humans. They will live in the streets alongside everybody else. Now, the idea I had back in the 90s was for the players to be hell cops. People set aside to enforce the truce between these lesser demons and humans. So while the lesser demons will want to prey on humans and torture them because that's their nature, these hell cops will enforce that they don't do it. Or they get banished into the outside where the big demons will get them. There'll of course be other threats where large demons can try and get access to the cities. There'll be farming compounds outside the cities, which will be much more Borderlands frontier because they are surrounded by hell and the monsters in it. But it was an idea I had back then. I was considering using the Big Eye Small Mouth rule system for it, and I wrote some of it. But I was wondering if there wasn't enough idea here, whether it was more just a couple of adventures worth. And my last idea is more science fiction, based on a time when I was playing a lot of Wing Commander, when I was playing the conflict-free space games, lots of space piloting games, was the idea that the players would be pilots of starfighters. But they would be in the cockpits virtually all the time. The adventures would be based about them doing patrols. Sometimes they'd be allowed to get out and do marine-like activities on the ground, explore space stations, fight out battles, whatever, but most of the times they'd be in their starships, using their sensors, using their piloting skills to get around. So, in the adventuring in the wasteland sections of a standard fantasy game, they'd be in their starfighters, but for the going into the dungeon section, they'd be on foot as they explore different settings. Now, the background I'd thought about was, in the near future, humanity, once they're starting to colonize the solar system, discover a wormhole at the edge of the solar system. Going through that wormhole, they find that leads to a network of them, controlled by different species. Humans find wrecked technology and start learning from it, and start building space carriers. So aircraft carriers in space and starfighters. So it quickly jump in technology, because a lot of these aliens are hostile. Some of them want humans dead. They want to colonize and take over the Earth system. There's some friendly aliens out there, so the campaign would be about finding these aliens, building alliances, fighting the bad guys, exploring the old technology and the remnants of ancient species out there. So that's 5 ideas of mine. Now, they've been rolling around my head, some back to the 80s and 90s, some just the last few months while I've been thinking about where to take this rule system. Now, if any of those take your fancy, please let me know in the comments down below. Obviously, as I mentioned, I'm drawn towards the post-apocalyptic one because I've been running post-apocalyptic games since the mid-80s. Since I was 16 years old, I basically ran an extended campaign with different sets of characters and, in some cases, different players. But perhaps it's time for me to make a break from post-apocalyptic. Perhaps fantasy is the way to go. In fact, I think for writing a rule system, that's probably the better way to go. But as I said, let me know in the comments down below which one you like. If you think of any ideas to enhance these ideas or take them in brand new directions, please let me know. I would appreciate any feedback. But I think I've whittled on for quite long enough, so thank you very, very much for watching. But as always, most of all, you look after yourselves, and I'll catch you later. Bye now.